Over the past year, pundits have evaluated the speeches and debate performances of the presidential candidates using a variety of criteria, including length of words, length of sentences, grade level of language, and all sorts of other things. But here's a different perspective, using the narrative index. It's a simple number, just the ratio of the words but to and. And is the most common word of agreement used in setting up narrative points. But is the most common word of contradiction, used for establishing a narrative thread. If the narrative index is high, a candidate is drawing on the power of narrative, something our brains love. If the narrative index is low, they're probably just listing information in the dreaded and mode. When you start to calculate these ratios, simply the buts divided by the ands multiplied by 100 to make it a whole number, a world of pattern emerges. Boring presidents from Eisenhower to George W. Bush averaged around 10 or lower, as did the early presidents. All of George W. Bush's State of the Union addresses scored less than 10. Great speakers like Lincoln, Kennedy, and Teddy Roosevelt averaged around 20. Nixon's first inaugural, where he clearly had a story he wanted to tell the world, scored a whopping 46. Barbara Jordan's legendary speech at the 1976 Democratic National Convention was a 36. Donald Trump, in his primary debates and speeches, averaged an astonishing 29. But Hillary Clinton was less than half of that at 14. Guess which one's speeches scored more airtime on television? Almost all of Trump's performances before June scored above 20. But then he gave his victory speech in June using a teleprompter. His score plummeted to a meager 7. Since then, he seems to have lost his mojo, averaging a paltry 10. Now the candidates are approaching the first debate. You can follow along and listen for the buts. It's not a super precise index, but it does give a general reflection of narrative strength. When the debate is over, you can calculate the narrative index scores in just a few seconds by cutting and pasting the transcript found on the various websites that post it into your word processor, searching the buts and ands, and doing the simple calculation. Will Trump return to his narrative glory and score over 20? Will Hillary break out of her dull swamp of anding that's plagued her speeches? Narrative strength is the essence of effective communication. It's gonna be interesting to see who draws on it the most.